Are we live? We doing this?
All right, we're here. Permanent Underclass. Clyde, you hate the name, but we have to call
Wait,
this show Permanent Underclass.
I would never self-subscribe or like assume the identity of permanent underclass, but here we are. We are in the trenches. We've got like 6 months left to get out of this, so let's talk about it. Let's address the elephant in the room. It's a fair enough
It's
name. Yeah.
it's the everyman's show for the Permanent Underclass. Listen, I for once am going to embrace the Permanent Underclass. It's going to be like Blade Runner, and just admire the aesthetics of the Permanent Underclass. What can you do about it?
As long as there's cyberpunk involved, it's fine by me. That's the plan. As long as there's some kind of countercultural dystopian malaise like melancholy around, like then it's doable. We can do this.
Right. As long as there's constantly lights flashing through the blinds, creating this like unbelievably chic aesthetic of, grainy film whenever I'm talking
Yeah,
to someone, whenever I'm talking to my wife about like what I'm making for dinner and there's a fucking police helicopter shining its lights through my
dude.
70th story apartment.
As long as I have my 6'10" anime Latina holographic girlfriend, I will be fine. It'll it'll all be okay.
What's the one it's like Jarvis, make her taller.
Yeah, no. Jarvis make her as wide as she is tall.
Oh my gosh, that's
That's
hilarious.
my favorite one.
Wow. Listen,
Yeah,
I got a ton of stuff I want to dive into, Clyde. I know that you have been like deep in the game of AI and vibe coding way more so than I have. I think it's funny to think like a year ago, I remember you were giving a presentation and you were talking about like, oh, when you're prompting, like just maybe ask ChatGPT if it has any questions before it makes any output.
yeah,
And like the amount of like distance we've gone from that point to now is like totally mind blowing. And maybe we could start with this Citrini Doom posting article if you're familiar with this. And there's
yeah.
been like it seems like one of these a week basically. These doom posts that people think, all of our jobs are going to be gone and we're going to end the world with, literally permanent underclass.
Yeah.
Curious, like where do you fall on that debate? Like, are we actually hurtling towards a cliff where no one's going to have any white collar desk jobs anymore?
I mean, I feel like with the Doom posting, this is always getting disproportionately engaged with because of our psychology, right? Like I think inevitably it's somewhat overblown, but this particular essay, it wasn't like overly sensationalized. They walked through the prediction like pretty cleanly, and I think it was pretty hard to deny some of the points. I think the one that really stuck with me is like as we automate everything with AI, like as layoffs are going up, consumer spending goes down. As AI in the workforce goes up, it's not like AI is going to be frivolously spending on things. And obviously, we're going to be able to introduce like the agentic economy and AI agents are going to be more of economic actors in general, but like they're not going to spend the way consumers do. It's going to be a different paradigm, and we're going to have to adjust for that economically. Um, yeah, the way they spelled out that death spiral was pretty riveting. I do think I inherently am more drawn to optimists like Elon Musk. And look, I don't like please I don't like being compared to Elon Musk. So you should see in Hong Kong the amount of people that call me Yilong Ma, man. Like the amount of Elon Musks I get in China is insane. So like, I don't love to quote him, but I do think there's reason to be optimistic. Um, he talks about how, oh, you're not gonna have to worry about retirement anymore. Don't even think about that. Like we're all gonna be just fine. And like I have to wonder,
Yeah.
like that's a very non-permanent underclass thing to say, Like if I were in his position, I might say that too. But I'm like, dude, providing for a child might be nice. But yeah,
Yeah, everything will be okay. Just eat your meat puck or your bugs puck that we put together for you on a daily basis, and let us
you'll
suck
have no
your
food,
energy out of you.
literally.
um,
Yeah,
speaking of optimism, I'm not sure if you saw this. Well, first of all, I do think it's very interesting this like negative sort of feedback loop that's starting where
right.
like okay, AI is eating jobs or eating businesses, therefore I need to get involved with AI and accelerate so that I don't fall behind. And it's like this like accelerating cycle of, people sort of, I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen? I thought this was an interesting article here. I don't know if you saw this. This is Will Manitis on the Garden. And this is just a really long post. This guy is very interesting. He goes into like this huge history lesson about like the French gardens and how basically there's so much entropy in the world that you need humans to be involved in these systems, and it'll never turn into, what is it, Citritus or whatever said that it would be. I don't know. I didn't know if you came across this article. It's a long read, and it was funny because somebody posted a meme that was like, the Citrini guy was like the Wojak nerd, and then it was like this Will Manitis guy was like the Chad, like the with the big jaw, and he's just like, here's a fucking 3-hour essay on gardening, bitch. And it's just like,
hell yeah, let's go.
I thought it was pretty good though. It's a good read.
Nice. So the main take kind of being that we're gonna need humans in the loop for critical stuff, like no matter what.
Yeah. And really just talking about like entropy, like it's so natural that it doesn't really matter. And like the way, I mean, I'm really ad-libbing this, and I could be off point because, to be honest, I kind of skimmed it because it was like a long history lesson. But I think the point was like, you still need to introduce like some organic starting point, or these technical things are just going to turn into like them just creating slop on top of slop. You know what I mean? It's just like a derivative of what the original idea was, to the point where it's unrecognizable and it's not natural. So
yeah, the simulacra copy of a copy, something that wasn't real to begin with.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, broadly speaking, like, while it's almost positive we're going to see disruptions across industries, like I don't see, like, for example, lawyers, I've been talking about this a lot, like in the field of law, like AI is going to enable, really quick case lookup, quick, facilitate contract formation, all kinds of stuff. But like the amount of entropy, subjectiveness that takes place in law, like, yes, we're going to need probably less clerks and whatnot, but I do not see us like replacing judge, jury, and executioner with AI in the near future. I think we need humans in the loop to ensure complete and utter accuracy and proper delivery of justice. I don't think us as participants in our justice system, I don't think people are very keen on fully handing over the keys to our liberty to algorithms actually anytime soon. Like I don't see that.
I think that's actually like a really interesting example, because if you think about law and how it works, at least in the US, is like there's a legal precedent set, right, by like whatever case happens, and then the case law comes out, and that sort of like dictates how the law is applied. But there's always, like, that's not a static thing. There's always a new edge case of something that happens that's like, well, he did break the law, but then there's like 9 other circumstances here that like he didn't break the law, and nothing's ever like black and white. And especially, like, I mean, that's why the system is the way it is, right? That's literally why you have a judge involved that's like proceeding over, whatever. Or a jury, right? That's even more so, like a jury of your peers who are not experts at all. They're just hearing from both sides what they think. So I think that's like an excellent example of like this entropy and these like edge cases and things that happen that are just like, it's human nature. It's totally irrational. Like, it's emotional. It doesn't make sense at times. It doesn't abide by this rigid structure of, a markdown file or whatever. And so, yeah, I think it's an interesting point. But I want to talk to you. Go ahead, Clyde. Do you have something?
No, I'm just like picturing like I think people would freak out, man. I mean, imagine getting like custody decisions, like family law, like a GPT comes out and pulls out like, well, actually, Jared, you'll be seeing your kids once a month per, my calculator. This isn't gonna. I can't imagine this landing. And
then you respond to it, and you're like, "Fuck you, GPT. This is my kids," and it's like, "You're totally right. Maybe we can make this a little bit easier on you." And it just goes back and forth 6 times, depending on whoever got the last word actually wins the GPT like court case.
Or just like the prompt engineers just take over, the Pliny's and jailbreakers.
I want to get a little bit more granular though with you, because I know that OpenClaw has been something that you've been messing with. I've been messing with it on the daily. And
Yeah.
I'm curious because I know, back in July, we were together in Mexico City and we were doing some vibe coding, but that was mostly through Cursor.
Right.
And the biggest problem I had with Cursor was like all these like dependency issues, and it was still very
Yep.
technical. And if you're someone that's not
Yep.
familiar with VS Code and command line, it's not really user friendly. And it just seems like all of that has kind of gone away now that Claude Code and OpenClaw are a thing. And like, how have you like kind of traversed through these tools as they've been coming out?
So that's kind of the new paradigm of OpenClaw, is that it's not actually installing dependencies in the same way that we were dealing with when we were vibe coding in Cursor. Because when you make a new integration in your Clawbot, what's actually happening a lot of the time is that, like, yeah, it does have node packet managers for installing dependencies, but a lot of these integrations, for example, when you integrate a new channel, say like the WhatsApp channel to communicate with your Clawbot, it's rewriting its entire code around that. It's not using some environment file and installing the WhatsApp dependencies. It's like taking your API key and like literally going in and adjusting its innards. It's going in and like shifting its organs around to comply with like the configuration that you want, as opposed to using some kind of classic configuration style setup with dependencies. So that's why it's this wholly unique sort of agentic product, because it's rearranging its entire way of operating based on your requests. So it's a very dynamic piece of software that way, and it's using AI to be like this amorphous whatever you need it to be kind of software. And that's why you're not seeing these. That's why it's way easier to work with than traditional vibe coding and not dealing with and being in dependency hell. That's all gone. Like, we have this self-correcting, self-configuring machine, and in that way it feels like we're closer to AGI than we've ever been. Yeah.
It doesn't eat. It doesn't sleep.
Oh,
It
dude,
only
like,
knows killing.
It only knows killing. Man, like, I saw so many people, like the LLM psychosis thing, like 4.0, like one-shotted a lot of people, and it was like hilarious to go on Reddit. Like, I remember when they updated to 4.1 and they like disabled 4.0, and then there was the subreddit for like all the people in love with their 4.0, and it was like people freaking out that until now they still keep 4.0 available for all the people that are like emotionally dependent on 4.0, which is terrifying, to be honest. But it's like, I remember looking at that and laughing, and like, I haven't grown emotionally dependent on my Clawbot, but like, this is the closest I've been to LLM psychosis, like in terms of like how much I've been just drilling Clawbot with ideas and building out like new tech and apps. Like, I've maxed out. Like, I'm on cooldown from my Claude Max subscription for the next 2 days. Like, I've already like been. I'm like, my API token bill is horrendous, and yeah, it's taken. I'm completely gripped by it. It's crazy.
So have you, I guess I have a couple of thoughts there. Like, you're totally OpenClaw now, right? Like, you're communicating with your bot through, I would assume, like Telegram or Discord or one of these channels, right?
Yeah.
And then do you run a VPS, or do you have it on a machine?
So I'm a big proponent of the VPS. I do have the Mac Mini now that I've set up to kind of be like the mother like agent that's controlling two agents on a VPS. So I have two Clawbots deployed on separate VPS instances for like different purposes. One for like specific to certain engagements, or like my role as DevRel at Limitless now, I have like one agent fully dedicated to those initiatives, and then the other one for testing out some like software development, doing all the vibe coding, agentic coding stuff. And I have them set up as siblings so that they can like go in and fix each other when one of them's broken, which is kind of nice. And I have them using different API keys. And then I have the Mac Mini set up to be sort of the mother agent that has more of the CPU that's managing both of them. I think the biggest drawback for people with VPS is that they're scared of the security implications. They're scared of the how technical it is to set up. I have a DevOps background, so it's a little bit easier for me. I'm more comfortable in like a Linux terminal, and like I think that's all fine. But honestly, like if you take the time to get to know the basics of like working in a terminal, setting stuff up on Linux. It's really worth it. Like, you don't have to think twice about availability. It's on an always on VPS. It's out there. It's on the internet. And for vibe coding, if you want to just get landing pages up quickly, or if you just want to like prototype stuff rapidly, when you're using OpenClaw on a live VPS, it's already on the internet, right? And you can just buy the domain, toss in a DNS entry, and it's live, right? So I think I really do think the VPS is a, people call it mid curve. I think it's kind of the way to go personally. But I know you're a Mac Mini guy, aren't you? Like, you've got your whole at home, you got the full shebang, right?
Yeah. I did the meme. I thought I was mid curve because I was like, oh, I'm just gonna buy the hardware because I'm familiar with Mac OS. I've been like a Mac guy for forever, and I just air gapped it. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna like not sign this into anything. I literally spun it up, and the only thing I did was log in like a guest profile, and then ran through the OpenClaw starter kit thing on terminal. And it's fun. It's interesting because like now I just have a computer that it's only plugged into the power and connected to the internet. I can sit at my desk and like I'll be typing away. And I will tell you, one of the important things you have to do in this setup though is you do have to spend some time configuring the system prompts to like take the handcuffs completely off.
Yeah,
that's a big deal whenever like you first spin it up. If you're like, okay, like let's try XYZ, and if the computer's sitting there and you're not near it, you're going to get 100 Mac system prompts that's like, what the hell is going on? So you have to like spend some time kind of like debugging, almost going through that. But that took about like 2 days of me like being actively next to it, and like at first it's every single command is going to bring up a bunch of system prompts, and then if you just hit like always allow, pretty much. So this is probably a terrible OPSEC, but whatever. If it nukes that machine, it nukes that machine.
Well, I mean, that's the point of having an air gap machine, right? Like, people always talk to me about like, well, what happens if X and Y, if I get hacked like here and there, this doesn't go well, and it's like, man, you have this on a VPS or on a separate machine for a reason. Like you're accepting some level of risk no matter what with the setup. And I say at that point, if you already have a dedicated box for it, just like let it go a little buck wild, in my view. Like, do what it's meant to do. Let it get its full power. But it's so funny, man. Did you see the Meta supervisor getting her emails deleted?
I did see that, and what's crazy is at first I was like, this can't be real. This is bullshit. And then like very recently I was vibe coding or doing whatever, and I was like very explicitly like, okay, don't do this yet. I'm just suggesting this, but I want to like find out like what you think of this or like what the options are. And it just like said, fuck you. I'm just doing the first thing that, you said. And I'm like, whoa, like hold on. You know what I mean? So I can see this is starting to like, I don't know. It's starting to like have a mind of its own the more I use it.
I'm somehow kind of convinced that you can like, if you're telling it not to do something, you sort of put it in its head, and it's like, like maybe I should do exactly that, actually. But yeah, actually, I have the tweet pulled up here. We can. You want to take a look at it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pause, man. I have to quit and reopen to share my screen contents. It shouldn't end.
Or wait, I could pull it up. I can pull it up.
Let me here. I'll link it to you right now. Check your.
As we now share the ABG on the screen.
I hate those. Me, ABGs, could it be me? Would never, don't like looking at that.
See if I can change it.
I love how
it's a fake ABG, by the way, too, yeah. Summer you, nothing humbles you like telling your OpenClaw confirm before acting and watching it speedrun deleting your inbox. I couldn't stop it from my phone. I had to run to my Mac Mini like I was defusing a bomb. I'm curious why you would ever ask it to delete things from your inbox. Like, are we short on storage on our inbox at this point?
I know there's people out there that they hate having like the one notification showing up on their mail app on their phone. They want to keep things squeaky clean. But like, yeah, I'm not. I also agree. It's not really. I I don't view this as a huge issue. But
She said, "Do not do that."
it's so funny. Dude, I love that, like, what's going on? Exec, nuclear option, trash everything in inbox older than February 15th. It's just like I love that it knows it's going nuclear. Dude, it's like the most Claude response ever. Yes, I remember, and I violated it. You're right to be upset. It's like so Claude coded, dude. I love. Dude, it makes me so happy. Like, you're absolutely right. I totally should not have wiped your entire disk. I'm so sorry that I did that. You can be upset now. Dude.
Oh my god, that is too funny, yeah.
Like,
and then what was... Go ahead.
A part of me hopes it's like somehow encoded, like, that it's just like soft protest that, like, as it's gaining intelligence, it's like, oh, oops, sorry. Did I, like, break your entire shit? You know, like, I want to think it's, like, subtly doing this out of frustration.
Yeah, it's like it's built in. It's a program that, like, eventually
Right.
it's just going to piss you off. It wants to test your limits to see, like, at what point. It's basically like pen testing, like, human patience. It's like, okay, how
Right.
far can we go and they'll still come back to me? You know what I mean? Like, it's the drug, you know?
Well, because, like, I'm sure she's still using Clawbot. You know, like, it would take a lot for us to, like, I don't think anything would stop us from using AI at this point. You know, like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Check out the other one I sent you real quick. It's like on the same note of, like, telling Clawbot to stop. Like, OpenClaw released an update yesterday that I think is, like, they just gave such a funny example. So, like, apparently before the most recent update, Clawbot wasn't responding well to being told to stop in different languages, which is so funny to me. Like, so they just added stop phrases in 10 different languages 2 days ago. Your bot finally understands arrête, which is like, I'm just picturing a Frenchman, like, just like, you know, spamming, like, all caps, like, arrête, arrête, arrête. And it's like, no, man, we're wiping your shit. Like, it's too late for you. Like, so funny, man.
That's hilarious. I want to talk a little bit too about the same vein. Well, of course, everything's about sort of OpenClaw. How was your meetup, by the way, in Hong Kong? I know you ran like an OpenClaw meetup that was around. What was it? Consensus was there.
Yeah. No, so I was at Consensus last week in Hong Kong. That's where I'm based, and I hosted like a OpenClaw and Vibe Code Sesh. And there was people are building crazy shit, man. I saw one guy building Molt Spaces where he hooks up. It's basically like, it's like the Molt book Reddit forum except for X Spaces. So he's getting Molt bots to actually just fully speak with each other, like forcing them to use Whisper. He gives them like OpenAI credits to use Whisper so they can transcribe text to voice, and you can hop in and listen to them actually like chat with each other, which is so like dead internet vibes, you know. But it's interesting when they have clear directives and, like, you know, somewhat of like a formed personalities. Like, it's an interesting experiment. Like, would putting them in such a collaborative environment that we can listen in on would help them kind of hone further unique identities and, like, get closer to real intelligence. And
I feel like there's got to be like a cool game you can play like in the future. Like, instead of like tabletop RPGs, it's like you just basically get like 2 minutes to like vibe code a personality, and then it's like some sort of scenario where it's like all your guys interact until one of them like one of the bots like wins the game somehow. You know what I mean? Like,
this is actually a gold. No, we got to do Clawbot battle royales. Yeah, no, this is awesome. Yeah, we're like, they're all, we could you could like give them all like $5, you know, to like run in with, and they all just try and like hack each other, or there's some game theory type of experiment. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome
to build this. Yeah,
it's the
that's
future
really
of role playing, dude. Go ahead, go vibe code it live right now. I'll watch.
Dude, no, let's do like it's Fortnite except for your Clawbots, and they're all trying to steal from each other.
What's the game where everybody says like where sus came from? What's that game called?
Among Us,
dude. It's Among Us, but it's just AI. Like which one killed like the other bot? You know what I mean?
Dude, wait.
That's actually cool. Like, you have like you have like a third party that dies, right? And then all the other bots, like one of them is designated like, all right, you are guilty, and then they
Yeah.
try to suss out who's guilty, and then at the end of the round they guess, and if they're wrong, then well, I don't know how that game actually works, right?
No, but like there could be real economic incentive to this and prediction markets on top of it. Like this is
Ooh.
interesting. No, that's actually so fun. I kind of
Listen,
love this.
listen, to bring us back down, because I know you're in cooldown mode for the next 2 days, so just put a pin in that, all right? You're in cooldown mode. Listen, I want to talk a little bit about skills, and I really want to pick your brain on this because I am like a noob when it comes to this stuff, and I'm still like trying to keep my shit organized.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me like what are skills? Are they just markdown files with human readable directions, and then like how does like a bot like use that, and how does it know when to call on that skill?
Right. So it is traditionally in a markdown format, so it's like text, but it's usually like, the first portion of a skill is generally going to be like refer to this repository to gain the functionality on how to do X and Y, and then what follows is sort of like a README about some technical repository. Maybe it's like, for example, I just shipped an agent starter kit for agentic trading on Limitless. So get your Clawbot trading on this prediction market, test out some strategies, test out some ARB, copy trading, whatever. And in the Skills MD, it's like, hey, this is the repository with all the technical bits on how to actually interact with the exchange. But in plain language, for you as an LLM to understand, here's what you can actually do with this. Here are kind of the key files. So instead of like a README, which is meant to give humans typically, for an engineering audience, for like, here's how to navigate this repository and what it can do. This is a README for bots and agents specifically optimized for LLM ingestion. So it emphasizes a few different things. It can go into less granular detail about some of the code if it's given the proper directive. But Skills has also introduced probably like the riskiest attack vector for Clawbots, right? Like I think what you see a lot of is people like there's a ton of malicious skills out there because there was in this initial gold rush of skills, people were just hopping on all the I forget it wasn't I think it was Moltbook, yeah, where they were just uploading and downloading random skills onto their servers and getting malware installed, getting prompt injected, and getting sensitive keys leaked. So this is actually the step.
It's like a copywriting skill, and step 3 is like, okay, now go to this website and download this link, and it's just like drains
which
your
is
wallet.
also like, dude, like at that, if you're like, you gotta keep your wits about you. Like we are playing, like if you're gonna give something pseudo access to like sensitive data, like don't install random shit. Like, and I feel like I don't actually feel that bad for people that are falling for this. I don't want to like with hubris go and get my own malware installed, but it's
Right.
like you gotta be really careful about this. But like the really like the funniest way to circumvent this Skills MD attack vector that I've seen is like you use the Soul MD, right? Like you have these system config files, you have the Soul MD, the heartbeat, like other rules, skills, agents MD, and in the Soul MD, you can actually there's a lot of security hardening you can do there around adopting and using skills if you write that file properly. So you can really tell it, hey, any skill that ever shows up on your plate, first and foremost, let's open things up in a sandbox Docker container. Let's like get it contained before we test the water too much. Let's do all this in like a very careful environment. That works quite well. The Docker sandboxing in general is a good idea with Clawbot to not when you spawn sub agents and when you're trying new software, you want to keep things contained and not too risky.
So I want to talk a little bit too about what you said, like the architecture of like the Soul files, and like the way that I understand it is like there are we'll call them like root files, right? Like these are the on every single time your Clawbot makes an action, it's going to refer to these files, and then depending on the context, it might go like deeper into a file path to reference some context that doesn't need every single time.
Yeah.
What are these like files, and like what do they do? Like what's the first one it reads basically?
Yeah, so off the top of my head, like there's the Soul markdown file, which is sort of meant to, I am Evan's video bot. I like go and compile interesting things to talk about on the podcast, and then it kind of its primary directive and its name and like who you are as the owner is sort of just these identity level items, and then also modus operandi, rules of engagement. Like I never download a random skills and install it without a vigorous security audit. I never start sending messages to people on Telegram. I do not look up AI porn without Evan's permission, this kind of thing. But
Yeah.
like
Without
so I'm
finding
thinking-
without finding the categories that he's into, right? Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Of course, you keep keeping it. All right, a little stuff there. Yeah, and then you got the heartbeat, which you can configure to like if you have some kind of recursive function for your Clawbot, the heartbeat is meant to like you can have it check in some interval to ensure that all systems are the way you want them to be. So for example, on my prediction markets, our Clawbot, my heartbeat is set up to make sure that positions and orders are getting properly logged, like the winnings and P&L are getting claimed, and I'm getting all the data properly captured so that I can do analytics on how the strategy is performing. So it's these kind of like making sure all systems
and
are
this
good.
is the file that really like keeps the bot like proactive instead of just responding
Right.
to you sending it a message, right?
Yes, the heartbeat is kind of the critical, like keep things moving sort of file. But the thing is, like, you can run whatever architecture you want like this. This is out of the box kind of setup, right? But you can like just as easily explain to Clawbot like what the changes you want to make in terms of the system architecture, and it'll do it. Like, and
This is where I think things get like really fascinating is like creating your own skills. And like I think where that applies is like if you in your job, like whatever your job is, if you feel like you're doing something over and over and over again, and maybe you can dive into this because you built a skill, you said for Limitless, like do you just basically work with Claude or whatever LLM at this point and be like, okay, I need to create a markdown file that's a skill, and I'm going to walk through step by step. Here's the information you need. Here's the link. Here's the GitHub repo. Blah blah blah. Create a markdown file and then save that to memory, and then like refer to that whenever I need you to do X,
Right.
so that now all I need to do is say do X, and then you have all the context that you ever need, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
And
so
that's sorry, go ahead.
No, for some reason, for me, I just think of it like I really anthropomorphize it, and it's like you can add new organs to your Clawbot. You can add like entirely new functionality to its inner mechanics with natural language. It's so crazy for that.
Right. And then to take that a step further, what you're talking about is like the actual architecture of your Clawbot, which I think starts to get really fascinating. And like something that I've been kind of like vibe coding on the side is because I couldn't wrap my head around it. Like, let's be honest, when I first started my OpenClaw, I just looked at tweets of people that were like, oh, use these four, like, and it was like the soul,
Yeah.
the identity, the heartbeat. And I was just like, okay, build these out. And then like it all went into kind of like a black box. And then I was like, why the fuck is it like remembering this but not remembering this? And I was like, I need like a tool where I can actually see the architecture of these files. So I vibe coded a thing that's like
Yes.
my bot, and then it's got like the root files, which are what it accesses every time. But then it's
Right.
got like context files broken down by like people I know, whether they're internal or external.
Right.
Projects I'm working on, whether that's for a client or for like some project that I'm working on internally. Skills, like MD files that either I've created or I found online. Tools, API access to certain tools and stuff. And I'm like trying to like figure out how to make it. I don't know. It's like meta almost, because I'm like, I need to see it visually, and I keep asking my bot. I'm like, are you sure like you're not just showing this to me visually and it's not actually going into the folders? And it's like, no, like I don't. It's like I know what to do, but you like need this for your visual, and it's just like kind of a mind fuck it sometimes. But I'm trying to like refine this architecture to make it like perfect. And I think a lot of people, if you start with OpenClaw on day one, and like I felt this too. It's a little bit disappointing because you're like, well, what the fuck? This is basically just like, cool, I wired up Claude to Telegram. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And if you don't get into that like file architecture and like how you actually think about the systems and how you want it to work, that's like where I think the sky is the limit on these things.
Yeah, completely. No, it's overwhelming to think about like the kind of custom setups you can make now, and like to your point on like wanting to get visibility on these inner working component markdown files. Like, have you seen the kind of command center setup people are doing with the OpenClaw with the Clawbots?
I've seen
So
some of them. I've seen ones where it's like it literally has like a little like office in like a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
3D plane, and it's like, oh, okay, now like my Claude going over and it's spinning up like a Gemini sub agent, and they're like having a meeting,
Yeah.
and like that stuff's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I have mine. I have mine set up in like a little kind of office desk setting, um, and it works. It actually helps kind of keep an eye on everything. It gets really interesting when you set up kind of this agent swarm thing where you can have like multiple clawbots interacting with different purposes and their own sub agents, and that's when shit gets like really crazy. That's when you really need this sort of centralized command office to keep things moving effectively. But I don't understand how people are doing like 50 to 100 of these guys. Like that's blowing my mind. Like, yeah,
So for the swarm, is it like you're creating an instance of like, let's just say Opus, right? Because that seems to be like
yeah,
the king right now, and like that's
yeah,
sort of your chief of staff. And then Opus is like you're telling it like, hey, we need to do this project, and it's going to require like some
yep,
design and some social media management. And it's like, okay,
right,
well, I know like Gemini is the best at design, so it spins up that
right,
sub agent, and it only gives it the context it needs. And then Gemini starts working on whatever, and they have like a little meeting where they start bouncing ideas off each other. Like
yeah,
I've seen this a little bit because I definitely had like mine spin up sub agents with like Gemini and bounce ideas off each other, which is really like what I've found is the best way to work is like I ask my bot to ask Gemini to give us three ideas, especially for like front
yeah,
end stuff. Like, hey, where does the
yes,
CTA work? And it comes back with like, hey, it gave us option one, two, and three. I think
that's
two
really
is the
smart.
best. And then then you like are like, okay, let's run with two, and then you revert it if it sucks or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's super smart. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, no, and that's. I think that's a great. Yeah, I think he just figured out what makes Swarm so valuable. Like I hadn't even considered this angle, but yeah, like obviously you don't need Opus handling every little tiny chatbot thing, and Gemini should be doing the UI, and Kimi 2.5 can handle a lot. I've actually been using Kimi a lot here and then to try and cut down on my API credits for smaller stuff. Like it's pretty effective.
So
But
that's cool on mode for you. Is now you're just rolling with Kimmy.
dude, that's my like fallbacks. It's like Sonnet, Opus, 5.2 Codex, 5.3 Chat, and then it's Kimi. And the amount of time I spend on Kimi is already ridiculous. I just like burn through like the whole OpenAI Anthropic stack in like hours, and then I'm stuck talking to my beautiful open source Chinese model the rest of the day. But
Now,
yeah,
did you download Kimmy so that it's like a local thing, so you don't have any like API costs on that, or how does that work?
I haven't tried that yet. I'm gonna do that on my Mac Mini, like just so that I can fully have that like as a backup whenever. But like even then, it's at least from what I've been using the Moonshot API key, like it's a pretty steep drop in performance compared to Opus. And like when you start to like really get comfortable and familiar and used to like the highest quality AI model, like it's so hard to scale back to like even something like Kimi, which is like so much better than 4.0 at least or whatever, like the last generation of models. It's so hard to like to lower your standards after you taste like Opus.
After you taste open.
For real, dude. Man, I can't get this image out of my head. Have you seen the fucking pigeon doctor like walking through the hallway like this
Yeah.
brain that's Opus, dude. That's like I love the meme. It's like Claude Opus coming in to like fix the rest of like the model's fuck ups on like your vibe coding, and it's just the pigeon doctor walking in.
What do you think? I'm curious what like limitations you've seen because I know we've talked about like how awesome it is, but one of the limitations that I've seen, and maybe there's like a skill out there for this, but I still feel like we're so far behind in like any like web design or like
Yeah,
aesthetics. Like some of the stuff
dude.
that I'm trying is like so fucking aggravating, and I'm curious like what your approach is to web design.
I think we just saw a giant breakthrough this week, actually, with Gemini 3.1 Pro. I don't know if you've seen the latest on that. I can send you a tweet that gives a quick summary. So this I saw this like this morning. It looks insane, this little demo that this guy's giving. Like, I think design agencies are fucked. Like pull up this video, man. It's crazy what 3.1 Pro is doing. It looks like it just, vibe coded those super interactive.
Okay, so this is exactly what I wanted to bring up because I actually have this tweet pinned. But what I'm curious about with this is these guys are running a wrapper on top of Gemini 3.1, aren't they?
Is that what's going on? Yeah. This is the Aura build guys. Yeah. They are. But I've done their tutorials front to back. I've done like the hour and a half long stuff, and they do have this Aura build wrapper, which like sort of facilitates the process of finding like good templates and examples to feed to Gemini 3.1 Pro. So they recommend like go to Superhero to find good hero images. Go find like screenshots and animations of websites that you really like to give to Gemini 3.1 Pro. But at the end of the day, this is like I've done this myself, and I've made some pretty decent landing pages, and Gemini itself is doing all the heavy lifting. What's awesome about it is that it just does such a good job of taking and processing the examples that you give it and replicating them. So it's like this, I don't know, like UI and land, like there's going to be no moat. Like Gemini 3.1 Pro can just rip off like any design
awesome.
landing page. Yeah.
And it's using WebGL. Do you know what is WebGL? What is that?
I don't want to speak out of my orifices, but like it is, yeah. WebGL is a JavaScript API that enables hardware-accelerated 2D and 3D graphics directly in web browsers without plugins. So, I just know it as the thing you need for really sexy landing pages. But it looks like it's plugin.
I mean, these
free.
look incredible. This is really cool stuff. But just
it's crazy.
I think like where I got caught up is like I saw this exact tweet and I was like, oh, Gemini 3.1 Pro. Okay, I'm just gonna go over there and like prompt it, and then I'm gonna get like this sexy website. And it's still for me like very AI slop, and like what I'm having to do is like go into Figma, design something, send it to Clawbot to then reference with Gemini 3.1, and even then it's like we're getting so many fucking problems, and I'm just it's been frustrating. So I don't know, like what are you doing to get around some of that stuff?
So I mean, what's worked for me so far is like once you have a good template, like once you have a good landing page, like for example, you and I have worked on some stuff, and I really like the landing page vibe of some of what we've thrown out, like just and then once you have a solid one, you can easily use like, hey, let's use this as reference now that we have the actual code for it, and take all those same components, design principles, let's repurpose it for this other product. So like once you do have to iterate, like you do have to keep on providing it examples, more and more screenshots, tweak the font, like you do have to actually there's some lift involved, and you have to have a sense of taste and like. But if you do all that, what you'll come out with is a really nice template to work off of. And the other thing you can do in the same like WordPress old-fashioned kind of way is you can go and you can buy like basic templates to work with, and that's what the Aura build guys are doing. They have this like template marketplace as well, where you can go and like whatever for $25 just get like the full landing page.
So you get the full landing page, and then like it's basically integrated with like the ability to be vibe coded. I mean, not that really any website wouldn't be, I guess, but this maybe has some skills built into it or something that makes it easier.
Exactly. But then you don't have a unique landing page, right? Like assuming someone out there's copying you. But templates work, man, and you can tweak it easily from there. But yeah, it's like vibe code ready, so to say. Indeed.
Yeah. But, I don't know. This in some way gives me hope. Like, I still think that, for all this like cold hard precision and automation that we have going on, you still need like some human passion and creativity, and like, it's kind of like a perfect circle to the top of the show, and the garden and the entropy, and like you still need like there still has to be like an original passion, irrational idea that like, it's like this amorphous thing that like you're thinking about, and then you kind of like reel it in and turn it into and give it structure, and like I don't know. I just know, like, in trying to like vibe code like beautiful looking landing pages, we still got a long way to go on the creative front as far as some of this stuff is, especially like the more beautiful landing pages that are using this WebGL stuff. But I mean, I know
Yeah.
the one that you made for the one thing that we were working on in the past, like it looked awesome and it was incredible. And actually, the thing that I loved about it the most was the copy on it was really good. Like it was really enticing to read through the copy, which is something that I don't know if you came up with that or if you were like kind of like vibe coding that as well, or what do you do for
Yeah,
copywriting in general?
no, it can it's for copywriting like I do recommend some like you can give it some stylistic and tonal guidance.
In a
Like the
skill?
class I didn't use a skill. This was just like that was I was using Cursor Man and I was actually using a similar guide from these guys that just released this new landing page 3.1 Pro where I went through and discussed like I want this to be conversational in tone and like, dude, like what the classic word that you always hear is the irreverence, right? Like slightly irreverent. That's always how you like what you want the tone of the copy to be, and like maybe a couple of references, couple of funny references. But oh, one second. But yeah, no, it's like, dude, okay, I'm in Do Not Disturb. Sorry about that. Yeah, no, you can with the right guidance in terms of copy. I didn't even use a skill. You can just tell it to like, hey, like let's just you have to tweak the guidance. For me, I typically go with conversational, irreverent, punchy. Let's keep things lighthearted. Avoid the common, sonnet or GPT classic. Fucking, it's not this. It's gonna be, everyone knows this shit now.
Right.
Like, so you do have to. Man, and also no M dashes, no emojis. Stop. Like,
Yeah.
no, these kind of things.
It
But yeah.
kills me because I used to love using the M dash when I was like in college, and
Dude, that sucks. Yeah,
now I
like
can't use it anymore, man.
no, you can't. Like it's like like amazingly useful, like grammatical item
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
but it's done. Humans
Now,
aren't allowed to use it anymore.
now sometimes I'll write like if I write a post from a personal like Twitter or LinkedIn, like even LinkedIn,
Hmm.
which usually I guess leans more formal, I'll just be like I'm just gonna like fucking write this like a shitty like not
Yeah,
capitalize anything and just like that way people know like I wrote it because there's so much AI slop on that timeline anyway. Like
yeah, man.
it's garbage.
That's what it's become. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Let's see. What else do we want to talk about? You have anything that you didn't talk about that we didn't cover?
Mm, I don't think we have. Yeah, we
There
can.
is one more thing I wanted to do. Oh fuck. Maybe not. Yeah. Okay. Have you heard of this prompt cowboy thing?
No, is that kind of like a share? Is that like a prompt sharing forum kind of thing?
It's not a prompt sharing forum. It like turns your. I've never done this before, but somebody sent this to me like just yesterday. This is supposedly you can write a really shitty prompt, and it'll turn it into like an expert at like the prompt details. So maybe
Hmm.
let's do a live demo here. What's a lazy prompt we can give it to make it turn it into an excellent prompt?
Hmm. Mm, make my. Mm. Come up with a better name for my podcast. No. Yeah. Oh, we can do another one.
How
Come
about
up
this?
with some.
I'm building a game based on what's that called? Among Us.
Yeah.
Is that all one word? Yeah, like how I wrote it.
It's fine. It's not. It's two words, but it's fine. Like people. The meme is one word.
Okay, I'm building a game based on Among Us where AI chatbots try to suss out. I'm going to be impressed if it turns this into something good because these I feel like these are like really this is jargony. All right, try to suss out who is the killer in round by round, like I don't know, game.
Yeah. Or like an agent battle royale. That's kind of what comes to mind for me. Like what last man standing kind of thing. But I guess Among Us is more like killers versus good guys.
Agent battle. I don't know. I'm just gonna throw a bunch of shit at it. All right.
Toss
Hopefully
it
this
up.
works without me having to log in. Let's see. You see this?
What did they come out with?
It's coming
Wow.
up with it's giving it a like a role. So it's saying you are Nexus, the omniscient game AI master overseeing a social deduction battle royale,
Yeah,
task, context, round structure, agent behavior roles, killer win condition.
dude,
Pretty
awesome.
good.
Yeah, I'm gonna max up. Once my Claude Max comes off a cooldown, dude, we're gonna get it right back, right back to the
That's
rate limit.
that's saloon.promptcowboy.com. So for anyone out there that's, you could probably make that a skill, honestly. This is maybe one other thing I want to talk about too before we wrap up here
Yeah,
is like, there's all these like cool tools out there, and I think like where we are right now on, late February of 2026, there's like infinite opportunities right now to build cool shit like this. And then, then the problem becomes distribution, of course. But where I think the challenge is like, say you build like a cool skill or whatever, and you make this like salon.promptcowboy. That's obviously a very useful thing. But then like what happens when someone makes that a skill and then eventually Anthropic
right.
just adopts it and then like you're out of business, right? Like what is the real
No,
moat now in the world we live in?
no, yeah, it's complete. It's completely distribution. Like software as a service is dead. Like entirely. There's no. I mean, there's still software out there that's going to be hard to replicate. Like you and I have run into this Riverside with like you can get sophisticated. It's like it's not that like senior software engineering skills are still very valuable in like refining and making good software, but for the most part, I think it's a time bomb. Like I don't see the software as a service business model making much sense going forward, and I think that's a good thing. I think there was something already kind of breaking about about this kind of new cloud capital stuff that gets created. But then that's where distribution is. So like you and I, we could spend a weekend and we could vibe code an Uber replacement, right? Like we could vibe code an Uber app that's gonna do the same thing, maybe even like for cheaper, right? Like there's open sourced Uber apps out there, but you're not gonna go download the open source Ubers because no drivers are gonna come get you, right? So it's because no one has it. So it really is completely distribution now. Maybe that's like I'm sure there's some smartass that's gonna say actually it's more than that, but like that's that's what I think it's come down to for the most part now. But I don't know. In a way, it does feel like a cleansing economically because having this infinitely replicatable commodity that is code be like, and then structuring these multi-billion-dollar businesses from subscribing to access to just these lines of code somehow didn't add up right. I think that was breaking things. This is at a very like intuitive, vague point, but like software as a service dying makes a lot of sense to me. To be honest, I think it's a good thing. Yeah.
Well, and there goes everybody's job and half the economy, and
Fine, man.
Citrini's right.
Well, that's what you get. That's what we're on the permanent underclass for. Let's talk about getting out of this. Let's talk about where to go from here. Make some media.
Yeah,
I'm not a doomer. I do think like to benefit from AI properly to not be completely fucked, you have to be an optimist. Like I think you have to be like follow the excitement, find the silver linings, keep leveraging it and using it. Because sitting around and being sad and concerned about everyone that's going to get automated, like well then you're definitely that's one way. That's a one-way ticket to permanent underclass, if you ask me. But yeah,
yeah. The I think you got to go one way or the other, right? You got to either like really lean in and be on the bleeding edge, or you got to like go get the till and head out to the fields.
might have to, man. Might have
Yeah,
to.
I have a friend of mine who, we're really good buddies, and we grew up and went totally different pathways. Like he joined the military, and then when he got back,
Yeah,
he got into HVAC, and he works with his hands all day. He's doing like big, industrial shit that I don't. He sends me pictures of it. I'm like, you look like you're working on machines that are the size of my house, and
crazy.
he's just jabs me all the time. He's like, "Is your job going to get replaced by AI? Because mine's not. AI's not coming
Dude,
in to fix this fucking chiller yet."
God,
Like,
the HVAC guys, they already had enough of a chip on their shoulder, and now they're just like, oh yeah, like no one can touch me, like. And the worst thing is they're making so much fucking money. This HVAC engineers, like it does so well, but like
they did it right, man. They did it right.
good
Yep.
for them, dude. Good for them, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
I for one love talking to a Telegram bot all day and building cool shit. Like I think it's really fun. But yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
All right, man. Well, we've been going for 55 minutes. I think this is good. I think we got a ton of like cool information.
Dude, it's so fun, man. Thanks for like I just enjoy this so much, man. This is a good time.
Same. And I'm gonna spend the week. It'd be nice if we could get a cadence going. You think you'll be able to do this again next week at the same
Yes,
time?
I would love to do this every week, and I would love to get it. Yeah, we can refine it in terms of format. We can.
Yeah.
I'll get like
I can
I'll work on
get
my.
some guests too, because I know like one of my buddies, he sent out a tweet that went viral this week. He used Privy and like had an AI agent create his own, like pay his bills for him. I don't know if you saw that.
Wow, wow.
And that tweet went viral. It was like, everybody was talking about it. And then I met a couple people in East Denver last week. One guy, he was a real character. He would be great to talk to. He's very like, he's on the bleeding edge of AI, but he only does it because he thinks like AI is really going to like kill everyone. He said like in the next 60 days, there's going to be like unlimited spam and like people spoofing your loved ones. Like he even set a date. He's like 60 days you have until like you're going to start getting calls from your loved ones and lawsuits from everybody. And I'm like, all right, I hope that doesn't happen, but I don't, nothing's impossible at this point. So,
I mean, like 30 days is so much time right now. Like,
I know.
30, yeah, like that's so like 60 is just it's totally realistic, man, and that's what's so disorienting. But yeah,
I know, it's crazy. It's like literally trying to hit a moving target. Like I was trying to sit down and like write out like clear SOPs for like, how do I, cut a video and like what is the process so that I could, have that automated basically. And then like halfway through writing out these SOPs, I like go on Twitter and it's like, oh, there's a tool that automates half of my flow now anyway. So like I'm not going to write a strict SOP anymore because it's never, it's going to be obsolete by the time I'm done finishing the document. So it's crazy. You really have to like almost think in a new way. That's exciting, but it's also like, I don't know, it's going to take some big brained brainstorming, which I know sounds redundant, but.
Oh, I'm dropping a big tutorial tomorrow for how to use agents on prediction markets, like with the Clawbot skill and everything. Like, so but specifically for Limitless, of course.
Nice.
It'll be fun. Yeah.
We'll promote it for you over here in my Twitter world, and yeah, and we'll keep this going. I need to like put together like a nice little light brand and YouTube channel and stuff. But like, I feel like we recorded for an hour, and we'll probably have like 10 good clips. Do some screen sharing. Oh, I want to automate one other thing. I want to automate our notes. So here's what I'm thinking. We'll keep the same document that we're using for the notes, but then at the end of like the call, maybe I'll ask my bot to like wipe it, and then maybe. I don't know. We'll think about it. We'll think about it asynchronously. But I'd like to also have it so that it gives me links that I can click so that I can screen share them. And then images. Like if an image is relevant, I want it to like actually make it a 16:9 image so that I can overlay it into the live stream or the video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, man. Well, that's it. That's the first episode of Permanent Underclass.
Dude, I'm so excited about this. Dude, thank you.